Alright, welcome back. This is my Republic Gunship MOC, also known as the Low Altitude Assault Transport. It's 2,421 pieces, and I actually have instructions available for this build, but we'll get more into that later. This is something I had originally made for my part of the Rebel collaboration, the Laceropes mission, but upon completing that collaboration, I decided I wanted to return to this build and try and really refine out some of the stuff that I wasn't happy with there. Tried to make it a lot more stable, wanted to add in the working doors, and just fix up some stuff I didn't really like the wings. And that's what I've been doing since then. The idea that I've been trying to stick with is to create sort of the smoothest gunship that I possibly could. And I think at times sacrificing some proportional accuracy for that, such as maybe like the height of the hangar here, but that's just a result of trying to let the Lego pieces flow with themselves, I guess, playing to the Lego pieces rather than obsessing over the exact model, because I think that's a way that you can actually get closer to what the vehicle feels like, what you remember it being like, than if you were to compare it exactly with an in-universe image. At least that's my own completely made-up justification here.
I think that the front here is probably where I spent the most time for, how little space it takes up. It was definitely a really fun challenge to get all of this color blocking to work out the way that it did. And it kind of comes out more angular than I wish it was, but at the end of the day, what can you do? The cannons here are also, a little bit poseable. The first place that I started in my redesign was actually the cockpit, because the original one didn't really fit minifigures. Definitely happy to be able to get them at least somewhat comfortable in there now. And I was even able to throw in a little bit of seat or, cushioning detail in there for them. Both of them also have a little bit of a heads-up display detail, different ones on each cockpit. And that actually fits in there surprisingly well with this windshield. I think the two main parts that I knew I really wanted to include were the curved slopes up here. I think that created just the perfect look, and these slopes right here, because basically the entire top half of the body is angled, as you can see, which is definitely continually one of the most challenging things to have to deal with, but also just kind of fun because sort of got used to dealing with that exact angle, of which there are a couple pieces that work well with it. The doors were definitely built around these 1x3 arch pieces here to create these slots in the doors, and they just sort of close in a minivan-like fashion. Same with the back door here. Personally, I think it looks cooler when the doors are open, just because there's more angles and more depth because you can see inside of it, but at least they do close, functionally wise. Inside the troop carrying hangar, so you've got a number of different details. There's a net on the top for either storing weapons or, sort of holding onto, and then just another support rail to hold onto to balance with, hypothetically. And then on the floor, just a different array of studs to put figures down on so they don't fall. With the overall height of this and the mechanism for the doors and the other rails and stuff, it does get quite cramped in there for minifigures when the doors are closed, but that's just sort of a sacrifice I had to make. The back ramp here actually has this ramp that you can lower, whether for an ATRT or a speeder bike or something. That is an in-universe feature. I really like how the white struts work around that. I think those actually turned out looking really cool, and just how thin the ramp is to support the entire back. I didn't want to add any other little supports in there to make this all work. Around the very back here, there's a little ball turret thing. Very simple design, but it captures it just right. And then there's these grill pattern up here. Overall, I'm just mostly happy with how this sort of back half cube is able to melt into the main body. Pretty flush. That was a very difficult challenge to figure out. The wings here were the last thing that I worked on. I added this printed piece here just kind of for fun, but that's not actually in the instructions. I just thought it looked cool. The main thing here is just this line that goes along the back that sort of slots under these little panels here. I really like how it intersects with the body, but also how this little red line works. The ball turrets and the wings are probably a little bit too big, but it didn't seem like the right move to go down to the next step smaller. We've got a little bit of extra detail inside of there just to create some more volume and texture, but they use the same dome pieces that the Lego Gunship set uses, and definitely tried to keep it pretty simple here with the engines. I didn't see any reason to do anything more than this. I think they fit in well enough. The only gaps I don't really like is kind of how they fit in with these wedges here, but otherwise they're definitely overall a well executed total accident there. And then finally up on the very top we have these harpoon pieces that make up this missile rack pattern. This is definitely a bit embellished from the source material, but I thought it was probably the best way to get really tiny missiles in there and also kind of make them look cool. Definitely often taking the course of picking things that I think look cool quite a bit than just really trying to follow the source material, because I've sort of dug myself into a hole of not being 100% accurate across the rest of it, so it seems more important to just try to make it flow than have some of it be super accurate and the rest just something else. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. In the future I want to add the sort of bubble ball turret things that go where the small doors are. If and when that does happen and you purchase instructions, those will be distributed out for free. Although I worked pretty hard to make this a stable build, it is definitely a display model as far as Lego sets go, and the building process is definitely on the difficult side in some areas. Once it's all clicked together, it works out quite well, but especially with some stuff like up near the front, that can get kind of crazy. But if you end up buying instructions, if you build it, definitely send me an email or an Instagram message with a picture. I think it's really cool. I'm gonna be doing a color swapped version as well, so I'll have another one pretty soon. I'm gonna do a full shadow version. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, that's it for this video. If you're interested in seeing some of the build process, I've basically been documenting from day one. I'll link the playlist down below for that entire series. Also down there, rebellug.com for the instructions for this model. Also, huge shout out to JetBricks for helping me build up the hangar bay and the opening of the video in a timely manner. We managed to do that in just 2 days, and a build log of that entire process is going to be coming out soon as well, along with a bunch of other cool videos I've got planned. That's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Later.